Hello guys, Warfighter268, and today I'm bringing you a review for the fan film Spider-Man The Goblin Legacy. This is a sequel to my trailer series Spider-Man The Goblin Wars. I will be going over two topics in this review, story and editing. I'm going to start with the story first, so if you haven't seen the film, a link will be in the description for you to do so. If you are still here, let's jump in, shall we? As you all know, Andrew Garfield died at the end of the Goblin Wars by the hands of the ultimate Green Goblin, Chris Cooper. It starts off about 3 days before Goblin Wars begins, with Roderick Kingsley, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, which is a great fan, casting. He breaks into Oscorp only to stumble upon Harry Osborn, Dana Ham, activating the portal to the Sam Raimi universe. Fast forward, and we see the aftermath of the final battle. It gives a realistic take on what would happen if that kind of event happened, and what the public would think about it, because it shows them blaming the Spider-Man for all the destruction, and they have the right to. I mean, it really was their fault if you think about it. Motivating the villains, taking out that old chestnut. It fast forwards about 6 months, and Peter Parker's gave up being Spider-Man, and he is living a good life. He comes home to find Miles Morales in his apartment. After a few lines of dialogue, Tobey Maguire agrees to train Miles as the new Spider-Man. After a brief training montage, it shows Miles go up against his first villain. I'm not too sure who he's supposed to be. In the actual story, it's his uncle, but I'm not too familiar with the Ultimate Comics, so I'm not really the guy to be identifying villains when it comes to this person. I don't know who he is. He murders him. He murders his uncle, Miles, which I think is a cool concept, considering Spider-Man is never supposed to kill. Then you have this new guy who doesn't really know what it's like to be Spider-Man, and he doesn't know that you shouldn't kill or not, because all he sees is the bad guy. And an argument breaks out between Peter and Miles about the morals of being Spider-Man and how killing is bad, wrong, badong. Killing is badong. He should stand for the opposite of killing, ganadab. That's a Kung Pao joke. If you don't get it, I'm just old. The argument was handled very well, but the next part we see is Aunt May in the hospital, which I assume Kingsley put her there after he breaks into Oscorp, which we see in the next scene, and injecting himself with the Goblin formula, which turns him into a big hulking goblin like Chris Cooper's was. Cut to the next scene, it shows Kingsley, he's taken MJ, he's tied her up, and he's activating the trans-dimensional portal. Peter finds Miles, and he asks him to help. Miles agrees to. Then it shows him creating his classic black and red suit for Miles Morales. Next scene, we get to the boss fight, final battle. Boss fight, it's not a video game. It's Miles and Peter versus the Hobgoblin, which pretty standard fight. It's not that long considering what he had to work with. After Peter fights him at first, he lets Miles take over while he runs over to the portal to shut it off and to save MJ. Miles defeats the Hobgoblin pretty quickly. That's one of the clips I have about him. Pretty quick when he beat him. I didn't really know how he beat him. I think he electrocuted him. I'm hoping the editor could help me understand, but it was a fantastic sequence too. Phenomenal. Peter and Miles eventually shut down the machine and send the Hobgoblin back to his own dimension. Miles soon follows after, going back to his own dimension and put that bastard away. When Miles gets back, he goes to Aunt May's house, Sally Field. He tells her of what a hero Peter Parker was before he died, and what he died for. Then we get a very good and just genius flashback sequence of, I think, the day before Peter Parker goes off and help out in the Goblin War. He promises her that he would come back, which he doesn't. Kind of hit me, I know I killed him off. I killed him off, but it hit me here when I saw him. I'm a dick. Sorry, I killed him off. I'm not. It's funny. Back into the Raimi-verse, Peter Parker has proposed to Mary Jane and they get married. Then, like any other Spider-Man film, it ends with a final swing scene by Peter Parker and then Miles Morales with a monologue over, by great power comes great responsibility, yada yada yada. And that's really how it ends. I know there's an after credit scene, but I am not talking about that right now because I'm not ready to. You can say we're still writing the script. Second part, editing. Masking is handled really well. It reminds me of the Superman Doomsday short that was done a few years back, which the audio was cut together nicely and the opening title sequence was done beautifully using a mix between Danny Elfman's original score and the Fate and Hope song used in Terminator Genesis, which is part of the official soundtrack. If you haven't heard it, link will be in the description. Phenomenal. I do have to say there are some jump cuts throughout the feature which, after I did some further research, were the shots that was used in his previous trailer. If you're going to make a full fan film, try to recreate those shots like you did in the trailer so that there won't be too much compression and you don't have to worry about jump cuts that bad. Because if you have the whole movie, then you can get the full scenes and you don't have to worry about like a little scene popping up right before it cuts to another scene, which it gets kind of annoying. But in a half hour fan film, mistakes are going to happen. Nothing's perfect. Just for future preference, you can work on that. And also, there's one more shot. This one. I think you could have made his head a little smaller because it's kind of going over his boundaries a little, and it kind of looks. The ratio is kind of weird. Nobody's head's that big. Like next time, try and scale down his head to where it's just over the original Spider-Man mask, so that it'll be a little bit more believable, and maybe add a little bit of a feather effect over the edges. That's just my preference. I don't do a lot of masking. I only do it for certain instances. But other than that, I give it a 4 out of 5. I mean, look at this shot. Look at that. I think that was the best moment of this fan film. This shot is just perfect. It's beautiful. What do you guys think about this fan film? If you've seen it, did you like it? Did you hate it? Comment in the comment in the comment section. Duh. And tell me what you think. Try and try to deviate from spoilers, because other people haven't seen it. And like always, the fan films link will be in the description so you can go watch it. Alright, this has been Warfighter 268 and I have done a review. You're welcome. I'm leaving now. Whores.